Howdy all, this is Texas Gaming Industries here, and welcome to episode 10, part 3 of my Let's Play Transport Fever 2. In the previous episode, we basically got our transportation system running, as well as helping Mr. Hughes become the best movie producer, and also the owner of an airline. But, however, we need to help him design 3 new types of airplanes, and he also wants to have the title of the best pilot in the world.
Mr. Hughes wants to be not only the best golfer in the world, but the best pilot too. Assist him in making this dream come true.
Of course.
To achieve his goal, Mr. Hughes needs to complete quite a few training flights. Make the necessary preparations so that your boss can soon claim to be the world's best pilot.
Which he'll do in our spare time as we have an airplane going to the golf course. But for now, we basically have to get this done. So, we need to help him design 3 types of airplanes.
For his latest project, Mr. Hughes is experimenting with the widest variety of materials and equipment. Make sure that his workshop leaves nothing to be desired.
Then what about here at this lumberman?
Mr. Hughes is supposed to design a seaplane for the military. Since steel is a scarce wartime commodity, the gigantic flying boat has to be built entirely out of spruce.
And what about the steel mill?
The US Air Force has ordered 98 XF-11 planes, which are supposed to be deployed as reconnaissance aircraft overseas in Europe. Get your hands on the necessary materials.
Now we can start transporting rail-borne freight. First of all, we'll need to change the track structure. Connect. Double flip switch it. And signal. And as well as connecting this. I have a feeling that we might be using that other track eventually. But I don't think we need to use it right now. But we might. Again, we might in case if something happens. Because I'm not so sure Mr. Hughes can basically pull off this task. But if he can, I'll be surprised. We'll place down the signals here. And also do this here to allow 2 trains to use the platform. Okay, let me see. Now I also gotta get the steel mill connected. Thankfully, the steel mill, the lumber mill, and the tool factory all got their needed materials. Well, they don't need materials, thank goodness. Now I just need to do is build an extension of the main line to connect to that industry. There, and there. And then, I believe that our freight trains will soon be ready for action all on the main line. Hold on. There we go. Now then, let's set up some freight trains. Call this Freight Train A1. Call this one Freight Train B2. Oh wait, B1 I meant to say. And this one being Freight Train C.
Heavens! Mr. Hughes crashed in the course of a test flight over the country club and suffered serious injuries. Now he's bored stiff in the hospital and tinkering with a motorized hospital bed. He wants to have a prototype built right there, according to his instructions.
So now Mr. Hughes has basically landed himself in the hospital. Not too surprising. But, however, we basically need to get some stuff delivered to him. Let me see. There we go. That way it shouldn't basically interfere with the main road. And then place that down. Call this truck service C1. I would load it with steel, deliver it there, and then truck service C2, fill it up, load and unload, then add tools, and then purchase some trucks for that service. Buy 10 of these to pick up that load. Steel, and 10 of these to pick up tools. Wait, I put in 19. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Put it on C2. Now I just need to get my vehicles sorted. But actually, I gotta get the rest of those services out. Let's see. Freight train B2. And then freight train A2. Speaking of which, I haven't done my full service stuff yet. And that should basically do it. Now then. For this, I'll need to get I'll need two of each for those steel and, well, tool trays. And then one train to carry lumber. That should basically do it. So it's going to take a little while for my trains to arrive, so I'm going to cut this video out, and I'll see you all in just a moment. And we're back. As our first deliveries of materials for the airplanes was just arrived, I just basically turned all the trains around and got all the necessary materials. So we should see our first loads of steel and lumber delivered, which should complete the contracts for the water plane, as well as for the stealth planes. No, wait, not stealth, reconnaissance, to say. And tools.
Due to unfortunate circumstances, the orders placed by the Army were unable to be completed. As a penalty, Congress has now ordered your boss to fly the lawmakers around for free.
Well, it seems like we didn't able to make our deadline. So now we'll have to transport them. We'll just use a special Douglas DC-9 and also give it a bit of a new color paint, because we are now operating under a new company name. And present Golden Coast Lines. I was about to finish this episode and realized that Well, I didn't actually think of a new company name. But despite all of that, though, let's see. Alright, trucks are now delivering steel as well as tools to Lake Street. They'll be delivered to the Los Angeles hospital. This should give me a little bit of an extra boost to my income, and I might as well upgrade.
The automatically adjustable bed promises relief for a multitude of afflictions. Meanwhile, Mr. Hughes has already left the hospital.
Thank goodness. So now, let's see. Let's put in a bus lane. So my buses and trucks can easily get in and out of the city without basically taking up space. And also the roads out of town also need to be upgraded. They're too darn slow for what they're designed to be, and people want to get around fast, and I want my trucks to get around fast. Too much slope. Oh, no wonder. That should do it. That should do it for that road. Now I gotta get this one done. There we go. Perfect. Unfortunately, the road there is a little too rough. It won't fit in that small area. But, well, let's see. There's 9 people, but I won't be making any money off of it. Bus service A2 has the most passengers, because it's going between the station to work. Oh, speaking of which, as you may notice, with these bus lanes, now my buses and trucks will drive on their respective sides of the road. And automobiles, well, public ones, now have to basically yield to my vehicles. Which means my buses and trucks can now go through town without worrying about causing a traffic jam. Though, it depends on the building alone. Because I can't turn this into, well, you know, a personal road, well, a 4-lane road. But it will keep my buses and my trucks on move and not wait behind slow traffic. But I think our airplane should be arriving back sometime soon. I think we'll keep this plane around for something. Could be worthwhile. Let's see. I want to have a look at my train revenue sheets. Freight train A2 has the worst amount of money, but express train A has been making the most. Who knows? Once the regular DC-3s are out of the way, the special plane will arrive to drop off its people and pick up some more for another flight.
After the unpleasant issue with Congress, Mr. Hughes has had enough of aircraft manufacturing for now. However, his passion for film has been rekindled, which made him promptly buy a production company. Help your boss shoot the greatest blockbuster of all time. Mr. Hughes's film studios have several sensational projects in the pipeline. Decorate the different film sets with the right props.
So now let's head into the film industry. So let's figure out what needs to be done on film set 1, 2, and 3.
A contemporary music film about the turbulent romance between 2 young Hollywood starlets is being shot here. Get your hands on the necessary props to create the right atmosphere.
So we need to decorate the highlight area and the trail area 2 with benches with streetlights.
Mr. Hughes is set on becoming the most famous film producer of all time. What's stopping him? The commie riffraff hanging around his studios. He has contracted you to put an end to the communist infiltration of Hollywood once and for all.
Well, that's not gonna happen under my watch.
The staff working on the set are on strike. What nerve! It's the poisoned ideology of those Ruskies that fills their heads with that kind of flim-flam. Show those people that they're still in good old America. A group of screenwriting hacks is supposed to be responsible for the pinko epidemic. Find out where these agitator characters hold their meetings. It must be somewhere in the industrial part of Los Angeles. The communist forces are slippery and dodge your investigations. Stake out their homes in Santa Barbara and Bakersfield without attracting attention. Ha! You've caught the pinko rats in the act with a handful of ideological pamphlets. Now they have to testify before the House Un-American Activities Committee in Washington. See to it that they get there as fast as possible.
Which will be good by selling this plane off.
So, the main culprits have been blacklisted. Now it's just a case of getting rid of their supporters. Clean out Mr. Hughes' studios by firing the percentage of the workforce who've been contaminated with communism. The commie threat is over and done with. Nothing stands in the way of Mr. Hughes' career as the world's most famous film producer anymore.
Awesome. That's all 3 bonus tasks done. But what about this one here?
The film about an enterprising newspaper tycoon is supposed to become an exceptional masterpiece. Help with building the extravagant scenery that's intended to form the setting for the drama.
Well, for one, my trains of tools and steel will fill this contract right there. And I now need a second lumber train, which can easily be done by adding this right here. And then connecting this and getting a new freight train to service this new industry. Freight train C2. Relabel this one as C1. And then I also have to basically clone this and put that onto C2. So now I also have to deliver steel to Los Angeles Film Set 1.
Actress Jane Russell needs a special bra that shows off her assets to the best advantage. Mr. Hughes fiddles around with an idea involving special steel supports,
which can easily be done by delivering steel by rail, which is already done to not only supply the hospital, but the film set. Now I just need to do is just add a couple of benches and street and there we go. Romance film is done. Now it's going to take a little bit of time for the lumber train to arrive at its destination here, so I'll... Hey, sorry for that weird cut. Somehow, my little Xbox One controller adapter from my computer somehow caused the computer to malfunction itself, and I have to basically get back to this. So, if there was a quick transition, that's basically the reason. So, basically, now that we have our trucks, all we just need to do now is just get them delivering the sand to Film Studio 4, and then everything else should be hunky-dory. Because Mr. Hughes is counting on us, and I want to make sure that we are basically making him happy. We should also reconnect the stations, as these might come useful later on. I know it's not the best, but I have a feeling that we'll have to reuse one of those pieces of track to the original stations in just a moment or so. And to make sure give it some time before we do anything else. As these trucks right here have just picked up their first loads of sand, and now they're on their way for their delivery. We should also basically give the roads outside of town to the sand pit a little bit of an upgrade. Now these oh, why did I put bus? There's no other cars coming down that way anyway. Now the back trucks are slow, but at least they deliver their loads. I think it's probably time to convert that one that delivers sand to the golf course to a much more faster machine. That should basically fix it. Now it has to wait for a clear signal to drive through. It just needs to basically make one of my trucks eventually needs to make a right turn, and there we go. First loads of sand being delivered, and then we can get started on the production of that Genghis Khan movie.
The film about the legendary Mongol leader is in the can. Thanks to your help, shooting the film near a former atomic bomb test site went off without a hitch. Now the greatest silver screen sensation of all time is supposed to celebrate its premiere. Although Mr. Hughes doesn't exactly seem to be jumping for joy. In a nutshell, he's been acting very strangely lately. Huh, but that's rich folks for you. Prepare everything for the grand premiere so that the film has everyone attending, oohing and ahhing.
Let's see, what needs to be done?
Your boss's behavior is making you nervous. In the end, wasn't the film as good as it seemed? At any rate, it seems advisable to pacify the invited press a bit, just to be on the safe side. A long bus ride will make them lethargic and manageable.
So we need to at least get an airplane, well, a bus, from the airfield to the premiere, and keep them on there for about 5 in-game minutes. Funny thing is, that there's another trick that I figured out last time I done this, is while you can set waypoints, people need to be on the bus for it to work. So, if people are on board, why not just stop the bus?
Everything is ready. Mr. Hughes is the only one missing. He announces that he preferred to celebrate the premiere alone in a hotel suite. What's more, he lets it be known that he's in the mood for banana and nut ice cream. Lots of banana and nut ice cream. Fulfill this wish for him.
Which is good, because the only other industry we have yet to connect is this ice cream factory. So, let's see. Collision, no collision. Bakersfield South. Extend the platform a bit. And since this is going to be a service that's going to be lasting a long time, we'll basically call this truck service D, have a full load at 10 minutes, and then purchase 10 of these trucks to pick up the ice cream from the factory and deliver it into town. Truck service D. Line contains few stations. Oh, I forgot to add that. Now then, where is that bus? Ah, there it is. Like people around and then head straight to here. But, however, the bus is not going to go straight to here. Because even though there's now 4-lane traffic, getting stuck behind traffic is going to be extremely low. So, what do I do instead? This. The counter does not stop even if the bus is stopped completely. Which means even though I'll be creating a traffic jam, at least I'll be able to complete that task. But what about the station?
Bring the production stars of the silver screen to the premiere in a vehicle that matches their status. What could be better for this than the Super Chief, the train of the stars?
Which is requiring this unique diesel and at least these. And put them onto line 1, and that's basically it. You don't have to deliver people in by rail completely. So I can sell that off, delete this route, and then finally get rid of this track work. Because honestly, it looks super, super sloppy. Same down here. We finally get the chauffeur press task done. Now the last thing is to deliver the ice cream to the hotel. Speaking of which, where is that darn bus? Ah, there it is. We'll sell it off, get rid of line 2, and now everything should be flowing normally again. The cinema for the premiere is also accepting tools, steel, and lumber. So all 3 freight trains will basically be making quite a handsome profit. Now then, where are... Ah, here they are. They'll pick up a load and head towards the, well, hotel. So, I'll see you all in just a moment as our trucks make their way for their big delivery. And we're back, as our truck finally arrives with the ice cream needed for the premiere. Well, some alcohol first, and then some ice cream.
Despite all the effort, the critics panned the film and tore it apart. A total disaster. Mr. Hughes has contracted you to buy back all the film copies in circulation to spare him from any more gloating.
Yeesh.
You were lucky. You managed to buy back all of the copies of the film before it receives more awful reviews. And Mr. Hughes? He's not grateful to you. He sits in his darkened hotel room and sorts peas by size. Time for you to look for a new job.
Well, it's a bit of a shame, really. But we built ourselves a bit of an empire, and our money lasted because we have finally reached our debt. But we're heading back to the main menu anyway, so we don't need to pay back the 500 million credits that Mr. Hughes gave us. So let's head back to the campaign and get a little briefing of what our next mission is.
Majorca, the Middle Kingdom after the Great Revolution. The Red Army has won the Civil War, thanks to tactical skill and plenty of perseverance. Both will now be needed to build the kind of paradise that Chairman Mao Zedong promised the people from the ruins left behind. Arise, from the masses to the masses.
Which we'll basically tackle in the next episode.
Mankind is constantly...
So if you enjoyed this episode of my Let's Play of Transport Fever 2, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Texas Gaming Industries for new video uploads every Friday or Saturday, depending on my outside schedule. And as always, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!